Hi everyone. Obviously it's not a usual video because it is in English. Last Sunday I had a chance to speak with a British journalist and YouTuber Callum. He has pretty sizable own YouTube channel. Also he is a member of Lotus Eaters team. We spoke about war between Russia and Ukraine and its perception in British society and how it changed during last 19 months. Also, we discussed situation with immigrants in the West and here in Russia. And also we touched a topic of history and how people see it and the difference with the attitude towards historical monuments. Total podcast is around 65 minutes, but I divided it into several videos. Each one is dedicated to a specific topic. I hope that you will enjoy it. Anyway, I would like to move to more, controversial, obviously, but as you also witnesses yourself, all the situation with the war in Ukraine and Donbass region. I would like, to ask you this way, because when I'm watching Lotus Eaters constantly. I really like your channel, guys. You're doing a great job, and I can tell you that you, obviously because you're not mainstream media, much more nuance than what on BBC, Channel 4, etc. You can watch. And for example, obviously you said, yeah, a Russian invasion is wrong. It's obviously Putin invaded sovereign country, and actually I can tell you, and it's my public position, and I didn't change it or whatever. On the first day of invasion, I posted that I oh my god, I always confuse these words. Condemn and condone. What is positive? What is negative? I always forget. Sorry.
Condemn is negative, condone is positive.
Condemn the negative, so I condemn the invasion, and I don't support this. However, in the time of war I have to support the army, so my position was it was bad, it was a mistake, but I cannot go and tell, okay, fuck you Russia, because it's my country, it's my people, it's my army who is fighting there. So, and first I was helping refugees who because we had a lot of refugees from Donbass and later from Zaporozhye, Kherson, etc. In Russian cities. And this year, I 3 times I traveled to Donbass. I went to Mariupol. I twice went to Donetsk, Lugansk. I went to Novy Aidar. It's also city in Lugansk region. So this is basically my position. So yeah, okay, it was a mistake, but if we lose this war, it would be much worse for Russia. And actually, at the end, we can get not like democratic and liberal leader, but we can get someone more similar like a Hitler, who was, during like all this bad feelings after the First World War and radicalization of the society. So I I, my personal opinion, yeah, it was a mistake, but now we have to live with this, and I do what I can to support our people and our troops. However, what I mentioned regarding you guys in your channel, that obviously you said, yeah, it's a bad thing, but you provided like context. For example, I don't remember who exactly, but back in 2022 in June, summer. Anyway, you did a segment on Mariupol. Oh no, maybe no, not in July. It was March. Sorry, March 2022. You did a segment on history of Mariupol and how it was like fighting, like pro-Russian, and how Ukraine military got into there, and how they suppressed the resistance, etc. So it's not like it was a peaceful, shiny country, and then evil Russian came and destroy everything. So for this, I believe you're doing a great job for providing this context and this nuance. However, the question also I have, for example, maybe you personally or what you see around you, how the mood and the opinion in society in Britain changed over these like 19 months of war. So do people like just don't care anymore? Is it like support still very very strong, or maybe some people changing their mind, or basically it's the same like it was back in March or February 2022?
So just to provide some context before I answer, so
Yep.
Lotus Eaters is a place where a bunch of people make videos, and it's up to them what they make. So I can only speak for the things I've said, but
Yeah.
my interpretation of everything there is people just being able to provide. Look, there's more context on the mainstream media because, well, the mainstream media are awful. Like they are just terrible. Every country I've been to, I don't think I found a mass media TV outlet, especially that has been able to do a good job at anything. Maybe this is because they're all propaganda stations, but whatever. So yeah, there's more to things than usually the TV is telling you. They are lying to you, not just leaving things out, but lying is what I found, especially in the UK. Well, every day in the UK, in fact. Anyway, so I wanted to go and find out for myself. I'd been told the Ukrainian side repeatedly through various outlets, because of course our government, I should say, supports Ukraine. So we had that perspective. I could give a very good argument for their perspective, but I wanted to see the Russian side because we don't get to hear it here, at least in my circles. So I went to Donbass personally, and I made a video about it, which people can go and check out. And my personal perspective of it is really neutral. I can't express how weirdly neutral it is sometimes. Even on the concept of the Russian invasion, look, Slavs killing Slavs in Eastern Europe, I'm not really sure what that's got to do with the vital interests of the Anglos and the Celts. I mean, maybe Russian fertilizer is the only thing we have any interest in when it comes to this region, I'll be honest. We don't even have significant imports from Russia for gas and oil. It was actually Europe that mostly had that. So I found the obsession with Ukraine all of a sudden very manufactured, and well, it seemingly is. And to explain how much that took place, like you're saying, when the invasion began and the subsequent months, oh my god, it was weird. You couldn't drive around England without seeing Ukrainian flags at random people's houses. These people don't know where it is, but they've gone out and bought a flag and then put it up in their front garden. And it was like, I don't know what's happening to people. This is where the meme came from that anyone who supports Ukraine is an NPC, which obviously isn't true. There's people who have their reasons for it and against it. But in the West, yeah, those NPC people are real human beings you can go and talk to, where they don't know where the country is. They don't know who the leader is, really. They don't know any of the history. They don't really know what Donbass is, but they know they support Kiev, and it's like, okay, that's insane. How has this happened to our country? And you would find Ukrainian flags on government buildings, and both political parties would have Ukrainian speakers to talk about it at their conferences. Now, after so much time has passed, you will only really find it on those government buildings and at a conference. So the Labour Party conference recently, the left-wing party, had a small segment on it. The Conservative Party had their conference, and I'm told there was a speech about Ukraine and how much we support them and blah, 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 but everyone left because everyone's sick of it. And that's the right-wing party, supposedly, that's in power.
But it's not right.
And when... Yeah,
Come
they're utterly pathetic.
on. I hate Tory. They're fake conservatives.
They're not even fake. I mean, honestly, they're just some of the worst human beings I've ever interacted with. When you get to the types who support everything they've done over the last few years, it's miserable, but a long, whiny conversation, I would end up saying. But now, if you drive around, you don't see Ukrainian flags. No one really gives a damn. Maybe because of the conflict sparking up in Israel has taken the spotlight. Maybe people have realized, why do I really care about some place where I have no interest and we don't have any national interests? Maybe it's just because so much time has passed. I don't know. But now it's treated like every other foreign conflict that we're not directly involved in, which is, couldn't give a damn, I'm English. Which is doubly the case with England. I spoke to a Ukrainian journalist shortly after I released my video, and she couldn't quite understand just how little we care about the rest of the world. Because Germans and French and whatnot, I don't know, but maybe being on the continent makes you more involved in other countries' issues, but living on an island, we come off as quite offensive sometimes when we mention how little we care about foreigners' problems. But hey, that's how we are. So, and again, that's where I come from. This neutrality, which is, country invades country. What does this got to do with me? Nothing. Why the hell do I care? So I don't have an opinion on the conflict, but I did have a real massive interest in seeing how do people in Donbass live, because on the one hand, we're being told it's all set up by the Russian government. There is no legitimate feeling for joining Russia. It's all fake. There are no Russians there. In fact, they're all Ukrainians who are being oppressed, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, I don't trust you, so I'm going to go there and find out. So I did, and got to go interview some people in Lugansk. I would really love to get back to Donetsk and Mariupol, and I'd love to hear what you found when you were there.
No, actually, because from my experience, first of all, I look up. People have to understand that Luhansk and Donetsk, they're like basically independent from Kiev for already almost 9.5 years, but at the moment of the beginning of the war, it was like 8 years, almost like 7.5, and people are really on the first of all, we have to understand that actually, especially for first years of independence of Donetsk National Republic and Lugansk National Republic, they were like kind of like bandit states. You mean like a lot of ex-criminals or kind of criminals they were having a lot of power there, and unfortunately a lot of things that we would find like unacceptable happened there. It's not like it wasn't like a chaos, but still, it wasn't actually, actual state with a stable laws, etc. However, I can tell you that now things changed significantly when Russia officially declared these parts of the Russian Federation. Situation changed in really positive direction from this point of view, and I can tell you that and obviously, okay, it was an election this September. United Russia got like 90%, 80%. Okay, in Russia we don't have actual elections. It's all like play pretend, So, but the positive thing for people before election and during this time is that government does a lot of stuff for them. And I visited Luhansk this September, and the city center is great. Actually, because Sobyanin, he's like mayor of Moscow, and actually Moscow got a lot much better in last 10 years. And actually he sent his team to like renovate Lugansk, and city center, it's really modern, it's really nice, really neat, a lot of places to go. They even have these modern traffic lights, because in Moscow we have this like I don't know. I visited London last time only in 2013, so I don't know what do you have there. But anyway, they are like really sleek, really modern, whatever. And so basically, they took the traffic lights which we have in a Moscow city center, and they took it in the main street of Lugansk. And actually, it looks nice, and people like it. I actually spoke with the people; they really enjoy it, and also they are repairing roads like everywhere. So I was so highway obviously is really nice actually in so basically from highway from Lugansk to Donetsk is really nice pavement, and also they're like repairing roads everywhere in the region. So they were so they're doing a lot of stuff. So and people obviously like it. Of course they're used to the struggle. Of course they're living basically in a conflict zone for all these years, but change is really positive. And for example, for Mariupol, I was there back in March. It was still pretty destroyed, but things got in a positive direction, and I also have some friends who also go to Donbass with a humanitarian mission, and they send me some videos from when they visited in August, and city Mariupol considerably changed in these 6 months. So it's much more basically look like normal city. Of course, there are still a lot of destroyed buildings, etc. But for people who stay there, of course there are some small percentages who still want Ukraine to come back, but there are some maybe like 25-30% who like genuine Russian supporters who are really glad that Russia now that Mariupol now is a Russian city, but absolute majority, and also my relative, because my relative is also living he in Mariupol, and he escaped with his family in March, and then he lived in St. Petersburg for some time with his like I don't remember his like wife's brother, whatever. I don't remember exactly, but they came back in February 2023, and his position is simple: I want peace. I don't care. Okay, when it used to be Ukraine, I like Ukraine. I considered myself as a Ukrainian citizen. It's fine, but now obviously war happened. It's terrible. The house got destroyed, but now it is repaired, and they can move in. They can move back, and but his position: I don't want war to come back here again. So I just want to live in peace. And I believe for people who are now living in Mariupol, I don't know how many thousands, whatever. Obviously, we don't have any credible statistics, but who are living there now, they just want peace. This is my impression.
Fair enough. I mean, you hit on something there, which is also one of the reasons I really love going to Russia. So I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think the average income in Russia is about a quarter of what it is in the UK every month. And yet, since I've been about 11 years old, this country is completely economically stagnated. But you've still got that massively high income. And so you might expect that things here, get better in the same sort of rate that things get better in Russia. New beautification, new traffic lights, etc. And honestly, I do wonder if it's just because I live in Swindon at this point. I don't know, which is a terrible city in the UK. But every time I go to Russia, I just find it incredible how things seem to genuinely be improving in small ways, like just small things that are being done to make the place slightly nicer in places like Rostov-on-Don or whatever else, where it's not Moscow, it's not St. Petersburg, which obviously are the capital, so they have the best investment. And you say even in Lugansk, I mean, I found it incredible when I went there, and I was expecting, I'm not sure, something close to what I saw in Kabul, with genuine poverty everywhere. And I mean poverty in the sense of it's really a struggle to live, that I didn't expect to find civilization. And yet you go there and it's like, okay, they have some problems for sure. I mean, I saw people waiting for a truck to come round to give them some water because presumably the tap water isn't safe or the piping doesn't work. I don't know. But they still have restaurants. They still have the ability to afford going to the market and whatnot. And the stores are all fully packed with everything you could want. I mean, there's even Western alcohol there, amazingly. I don't know quite how that's happening, but whatever. And so it was just nice to see how life carries on, regardless of what they've been through. I mean, you can see the bullet holes all over the place. Some places, like the City of Happiness I went to, every other building is blown up. But I genuinely enjoyed seeing that, okay, other countries, even if they've got these terrible conditions in terms of the level of income by comparison, or a conflict going on, progress still seems to be made in the rest of the world. And I really don't know if it's a real problem with this island, because it seems to be the case in America as well. Things are getting better over time. But my God, the UK really does not seem to have got better in these last 10 odd years. So that's one of the reasons I love seeing it there. But I wondered, when going back to Donbass, I had a friend who mentioned he did a similar thing to you. He went on a humanitarian trip he dropped off electric heaters. And he did Donbass, and then he went down to Mariupol, and then he went to Kherson back when the Russian army held it. And his perspective is that when he got to Kherson, they were not pro-Russian. The majority there were pro-Ukrainian still, even after the army had taken it. So they would take the heaters, for example, but then they would sort of like be angry, or some would swear under their breath and blah, blah, blah. And so I wondered, what's your viewpoint on what does Russia want out of this? Because it seemed to be originally they wanted to change the government in Kiev. Then it became annexing territory in the south. And from the people I spoke to, the general sentiment I've got is that they want some territory, the Russian majority territory, but do not want to take all of Ukraine and annex it or anything of the sort. So I wonder, you speak Russian, mine's terrible. What's the conversation like?
Oh my god. Actually, you get here to the like main point, because I'll tell you the secret, and to all like English speaking viewers who don't really know Russian or don't follow it closely, nobody knows. This is the truth, because nobody knows what's the final goal. Because right now, basically, it's goal to we have to fight until the West is tired and Ukraine is ready for negotiations, and then we can get something out of it. Because obviously, Putin lies all the time, because everybody knows. I believe even mainstream media use this clip when he, for example, in February 2024, when he declared the start of special military operation, he said that only professional soldiers will fight in this war and the all goals will be achieved. And 6 months later, mobilization. 300,000 people got mobilized, and now from January to September, another like 380,000 volunteered. Because now people now actually saw that Ministry of Defense actually pays the salary. Yeah, they're not like scheming. So basically, if you like, for example, sign a contract and you receive this amount, you actually got it. Your family will receive it. So also propaganda works. I totally agree. So basically, people. So, and from point of view of the government, I still don't know what they want. Regarding Kherson, I agree, and also like the leader of my organization, which is from which I also went to these humanitarian trips to Donbass. He said the same regarding Kherson, that they're not really pro-Russian, because basically what happened, we took what the Russian army took what could. For example, I guess actually the only city where the bribes to SBU, I mean this basically is like Mi 5 or whatever of Ukraine. So
The intelligence forces of Ukraine.
the intelligence, or like inside, yeah, so basically, yeah, intelligence, whatever. I believe that basically our intelligence, I guess, of course I don't know, but what I assume is that they gave a lot of bribes to Ukrainian intelligence officers. And when actually, so idea was that they will just give up and don't do a thing and just let our army like roll in. But I assume that basically the only one who actually accepted bribes and did what they promised were in the south, so like in Kherson, Melitopol, etc., where Russian army didn't face like a lot of resistance. But in the north, in Kharkov, in Kiev region, etc., they just Ukrainian army started to fight Russian army, and they just said, "Oh, fuck them! I will just okay." They gave me money, but I don't care. So obviously, the initial plan, as you mentioned, was just to have a quick, short war, defeat this Zelensky, put a puppet like Medvedchuk, and then we can have like a puppet state as Ukraine. Donbass and Lugansk will be part of the Russia some time, but basically we will have our government in Ukraine. But obviously this failed miserably. in March and April 2022, and now we're just rolling. And in my idea, what Russian people will accept as something suitable if, for example, we will have whole Donetsk and Lugansk regions, and we will just keep what we have in Zaporozhye and Kherson, just to have this land bridge to Crimea. I believe if, for example, then we got peace, majority of the public will accept it. But again, we don't know what the government wants. We don't know what the goal is. So
Okay, fair enough.
yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see. Unfortunately, yeah, I probably will go next time because I actually used almost all my vacation for a trip to Donbass. So next time I'll probably go like in February or something like this when the new year starts and I have another my vacation day, so I can take a week or something like this to go there. So
Okay, well, I was looking originally to do the Russian side, then the Ukrainian side, and then I got told if I went to Ukraine, they'd probably arrest me or chop my head off. So I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I'll just
it's actually if you try now to go to Ukraine because you're basically a public figure, I believe your video about Lugansk it had like hundreds of thousands of views, so a lot of views. So
something like that, yeah. But I spoke to
hundreds,
the Ukrainian journalist, and she was the one who told me they'll probably arrest you because you've
definitely
illegally entered.
100%.
Yeah.
Don't
So I
go.
thought, okay, can't do that. So I was thinking actually of going back because I did want to see Mariupol, this city outside of Donbass that's
Actually,
apparently.
just a short correction. Actually, Mariupol is a Donbass.
Oh, it is. Oh, there we are.
Yeah, so
But
basically,
it's
it was under Ukrainian control for all these years, but it is actually a Donbas region.
perfect. Thank you. So because there's also the aspect of apparently that's where Azov ended up getting encircled and whatnot, and the damage and then reconstruction. So I was thinking about coming back in maybe spring because a friend of mine said that'd be a good time to go because of the parades and whatnot they do as well. So if you're willing to wait, we could try and figure out if we could do
Yeah,
that together. If you're up for it.
that would be great, for and actually the weather is really nice because it's funny when when I went to Mariupol it was like March I believe, and when you go and in beginning of the March in Moscow is basically winter. It was, and when we started in Moscow it was like snowing -2 Celsius, something like this, and then we drove like 1,000 kilometers to the south, or like 600 miles for I don't know for British or American viewers, and in Rostov it was already a spring. It was, and in Mariupol, because Rostov and Mariupol they're really close. It was like 15, 13 degrees, no snow at all. It was like really nice. So if you go in the spring from like central Russia to the south, it's like you go from like winter or really nasty spring slash autumn weather to really nice and sunny weather. So yeah, it
It
sounds
really
great.
is like a different country because I remember I was there in summer a couple of months ago, and I was in Moscow and I was dying in the heat because it's just an awful summer. And then I went down to Rostov and it was 40 degrees centigrade. I was just like, kill me. This is unbearable. This is like being in Kuwait or something. What's going on?
Yeah,
Anyway, but where?
unlike you Brits, we have cold winters, but we have really warm summers. So also.
Yeah, don't like that aspect.
And we are back. I hope that you enjoyed it and it wasn't totally confusing. As I mentioned earlier, our podcast is divided into several videos, which I plan to publish daily. But you can have access to full podcast, including some parts which I will not publish on YouTube right now, if you subscribe to my Boosty account. So thank you for your time и, как всегда, спасибо за внимание. С вами был Ватный Либерал. До новых встреч!